Well, we are live now from COP27, Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt, at the Digital Innovation Pavilion, brought to you by IAI Glotcha and the Climate Change Coalition in partnership, co-hosted by Unique Network NFT platform, the HBAR Foundation, Sustex, and Carbon Market Exchange. And today we are here with Ira Feldman from Adaptation Leader Initiative, and he's also the leader of the Climate Chain Lab for Adaptation and Resilience. And virtually we have with us Tom Baumann, the co-chair of the Climate Change Coalition, who will now take over the lead and guide us on blockchain for climate with a focus on adaptation and explain us the new institutional and strategic innovations of the Climate Change Coalition, which will help us to lead in this field. Please, Tom, take the floor.
Thank you very much, Miroslav. Hello, everyone. Hello, Ira. Thank you for joining us for today's event, which is to announce the launch of the new Climate Chain Lab for Adaptation and Resilience. Again, my name is Tom Baumann. I'm joining remotely from Ottawa, Canada. I would like to start with a little context for the audience who might be new to the Climate Change Coalition. We are an open, global, multi-stakeholder network founded in December 2017. And so we're celebrating our 5th anniversary at COP27. We started with 12 founding organizations. And as of COP27, we've grown to 361 organizations in 69 countries. Leading up to COP27, we did a stock take of our membership in terms of our database of information and produced a stock take report, which was a fundamental part of forming our new strategy. 2 elements of which that are very important are being co-partners with IAI Glotcha on the Digital Innovation Pavilion and the launching of a series of new climate change labs. And so I'll just provide a little bit of background. The Climate Change Coalition over the first 5 years was very much creating a global network as a big tent. Approximately half of the membership develop blockchain solutions combined with other emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and also IoT to apply to a range of different applications and sectors. And our membership over the first 5 years would self-organize into member-driven initiatives on key issues or to create regionally focused teams that were in the scope of the Climate Change Coalition's mission. And up on the screen, you'll see our new path forward, which builds upon forming networks in this global community and providing the means to share information at events such as today, where awareness building continues to be an important element of our activities, particularly for stakeholders that are new to the space of emerging technologies for climate innovations, and particularly for transformative and ambitious climate innovations. To now, with such a large global network, and we've found out in our stock take how many members now have moved from simply researching and early stage activities to commercial products and solutions that are going into the marketplace. I think well over 50 of those now exist. And so we're supporting members in their journey towards mobilizing resources they need to become active in the market, and then to start to create or co-create the supporting digital and data infrastructures that provide the cohesiveness and sort of shared capabilities for the many different types of solutions to work in concert. So this graphic here helps to illustrate how the membership begins by joining and networking, and then advances to more of a cooperative and leadership type of activities in the form of climate change labs. And we'll go into a bit more detail of what the labs are in general. And then Ira Feldman will talk about the Adaptation and Resilience Lab more specifically. And then ultimately deploying these solutions to market as rapidly as possible so they can help achieve the transformative impacts. So just to quickly introduce the Adaptation and Resilience Climate Change Lab, when we looked through our stock take, we could identify an increase, over 100% increase amongst the Climate Change Coalition members in terms of their prioritization of adaptation and resilience as a priority. There are many priorities, and that's all in the stock take report. But roughly 40% of our members overall ranked adaptation and resilience as a top priority, which is a relatively recent change amongst the membership. Adaptation and resilience was a priority, but now to become so much higher really helped to substantiate the timing is right to create this climate change lab. And so in the discussions leading up to COP, very pleased to see that in relatively quick order, some of the other communities, such as Arise US, and there are many others that are starting to look at emerging technologies like blockchain, felt that it would be wise to collaborate. And at this point, I will invite Ira Feldman to take over speaking. I can control the slides here if that would be beneficial, or if they're available on site, Ira or Miroslav, you could do it.
Thank you, Tom. I think I'll just indicate when I'm moving to the next slide. If you could keep advancing them, that would be great. Also, it is a pleasure to be here in Sharm el-Sheikh at the Digital Innovation Pavilion with Miroslav. Miroslav, Tom, and I have worked together over the past several months to pull together and co-author the Climate Change Coalition's Strategy 2.0, which is officially titled Collaboration for Transformative Digital Climate Innovation. We're very excited about the path forward that's laid out in this strategy document. And as Tom alluded to, one of the new functionalities, I'll call it, of the Climate Change Coalition is the launch of the Climate Change Labs. There will be several of these labs based on different themes. Last week here, we had the launch of the Climate Change Lab for Finance. Today, I am here to help the Climate Change Coalition launch the Climate Change Lab for Adaptation and Resilience. This should not be a surprise to anyone here at this COP, knowing that for many this COP is the Adaptation COP. we have finally reached a tipping point where adaptation and mitigation will be treated on a par going forward to play catch-up. After many years of adaptation and resilience, receiving much less attention and much less funding than mitigation activities. And there's a reason for that. Adaptation is still an emerging space from the perspective of metrics, standards, best practices, and the need to enhance the flow of finance. In particular, it is not clear yet how we should most effectively measure success for adaptation and resilience. And that ties directly to the availability of finance. Without the certainty that we can measure success of adaptation and resilience activities, it would be a challenge to develop the financial flows necessary for adaptation and resilience activities. But many of us believe that the emerging technologies space, to be more specific, the advent of blockchain, the Internet of Things, and artificial intelligence, those three in particular taken together are commonly referred to as the emerging technologies in the digital technologies space. If digital technologies have been helpful in advancing the mitigation climate practice, I can only wonder at the impact that these digital technologies will have in the adaptation and resilience space. Why is that? Because we know that mitigation can be reduced to only one metric, carbon dioxide equivalents. In that sense, mitigation is pretty straightforward, not very complicated, easy to measure success. Adaptation is much more complex. There is no single metric to measure adaptation or resilience. It's that complexity, the complexity that will emerge from multiple relevant data sets and data streams to measure adaptation and resilience activities. And it is that complexity, that combination, the confluence of data that will require emerging technologies like blockchain to manage the assessment and support of adaptation and resilience activities. The complexity, the certainty, these are key aspects of distributed ledger technology, and why we are very confident that emerging technologies like blockchain will have a transformative effect of the state of play of adaptation and resilience in the years to come. To that end, the Climate Change Coalition is establishing the Climate Change Lab for Adaptation and Resilience. Why are we doing that? We're trying to provide a structure for the development of tools, frameworks, and processes to support the assessment, management, and coordination of projects proposed by teams of Climate Change Coalition members relating to the use of emerging tech to advance adaptation and resilience solutions. What will we try to accomplish with this Climate Change Lab for Adaptation and Resilience? Well, first of all, we need to identify and recruit additional adaptation and resilience experts for Climate Change Coalition membership. As Tom suggested in his introductory comments, thus far, the Climate Change Coalition has been focused principally on mitigation, meaning greenhouse gas reduction activities. That is going to change because the entire climate change discourse is in the process of changing right here at COP27 to recognize the significance of adaptation and resilience. We're going to have to work with the Climate Change Coalition leadership to raise awareness and build capacity for adaptation and resilience within the existing broader Climate Change Coalition membership. Because thus far, and I know I'm talking about all of you out there, those of you who understand greenhouse gas reduction and mitigation really well, I know that most of you have not paid that much attention to adaptation and resilience. And one of the functions of the Climate Change Lab on adaptation and resilience will be to build that awareness, raise that capacity among our own members on adaptation and resilience concepts and best practices. The other thing that we expect to do, going beyond our own Climate Change Coalition membership, is that we will liaise, and we are already doing this, with other adaptation and resilience organizations. There are many adaptation and resilience initiatives and organizations out there and have been for many years. And they are all doing a great job, even in the absence of adequate financing. However, most of those initiatives, while expert on adaptation and resilience, are not necessarily aware of the technical aspects of these emerging technologies and the facilitative role they will play in advancing adaptation and resilience. So we are proactively reaching out to other adaptation and resilience organizations that have not necessarily been aware of the potential benefits of, for example, blockchain to advance adaptation and resilience technologies. As Tom alluded to in his opening remarks, we are pleased to announce here today that one of those initiatives, Arise US, Arise is the private sector initiative in the United States advancing the Sendai framework under UNDRR. The Arise US group has already agreed to partner with the Climate Change Lab on adaptation and resilience in a variety of different ways, including participation in a symposium in the first quarter of 2023 on the use of emerging technologies in disaster risk reduction. So that will be a reciprocal relationship, and we are looking forward to welcoming many, many more external partners for the Climate Change Lab for Adaptation and Resilience. We'll be successful if we manage to accomplish three things. First and foremost, the lab exists for Climate Change Coalition members to come together in teams to launch and incubate adaptation and resilience projects. Before this presentation ends, I will ask Tom to go back to the wonderful slide that he showed that provides a visual of how the Climate Change Coalition works with the networking and also the team and identification of where the labs fit in. There is the the graphic right in the middle there, you can see the circles indicating the labs, and the circles grouping together a number of climate change coalition members. That is a graphical representation, better than I can articulate, of how the lab is supposed to work. So, first and foremost, we're going to launch and incubate those projects led by teams of CCC members. We're going to recruit additional members to build the adaptation base of CCC. We're going to convene activities to build adaptation literacy within our own membership. And again, to this point, we have been largely mitigation-centric, and that must change given that adaptation and mitigation are inextricably linked. So among the things we hope to do, we expect to have informational webinars, short courses, provide briefings, and convene external partner events, all toward enhancing adaptation literacy. And as I alluded to, beginning with Arise US, we will develop a network of external partner organizations already focused on adaptation and resilience. My own organization, the US-based not-for-profit Adaptation Leader, is proud to be among the coordinating leaders of this lab. To be announced soon are other organizations that will play a coordinating and leadership role in the Lab for Adaptation and Resilience. And the leaders will be both adaptation experts and digital tech experts, because we need both. And I stop here and turn it back to Tom and Miroslav by saying, if you're an adaptation expert, or if you're a digital tech expert who's interested in advancing the adaptation and resilience space, we need you. Please be in touch with me or Tom or Miroslav, and let's continue this conversation and have you participate in the lab. Miroslav.
Thank you very much, Ira, for this leadership, and thanks, Tom, for the great work that the Climate Change Coalition is doing as the leading network of organizations that look on how to promote and enhance the uptake of blockchain technology for climate action globally. And with this, I would like to give the audience the opportunity for quick questions. Are things clear for you, or do you have suggestions on how this new form of cooperation could be facilitated even better? Please.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Bisinje Nwadin. I come from Uganda, in East Africa. We appreciate this coalition and the power of digital technology in playing a key role in the adaptation and mitigation of climate change. My question is that do you have a strategy on how to mobilize African private sector companies that play parts in digitalization to come and show their interest in joining this coalition? Is there a strategy, and how best can I personally contribute to the achievement and objectives of the goals of this coalition? Thank you so much.
So if I understood your question, you're asking, do we have a strategy to enhance African participation in the lab? There certainly is going to be an emphasis in the lab on African projects, in part because all along African countries have been equally concerned about adaptation and resilience as mitigation. It's the rest of the world that has been trailing in trying to pay adequate attention to adaptation and resilience. So in Africa, where adaptation and resilience has all along been a major concern,
we anticipate that the projects that our members and our partners will incubate will in fact have a heavy representation in Africa. That is the logic answer. The actual strategic answer is we're not going to sit down in the front row and wait for everyone to come to us. We are very well connected in the adaptation and resilience world. We are going to be proactive in reaching out to adaptation and resilience groups that are already active in Africa, and you may be aware that there are many of them. And you may have sat in on the many adaptation and resilience in Africa panels that have already taken place here in the first week. I've been listening and writing down the names of all the people that I need to contact to make sure they know about this lab to actively participate. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much. Any further questions? Yes, Himanshu, please.
So every time I hold the mic, seems to be something really happening. First of all, I missed most of your presentation, but it's very intriguing. It's very interesting. I just wanted to understand, how do you involve scientific partners, the research partners? How do you involve the research partners, the academia?
If I'm getting your question, how will the partners participate?
The scientific
partners. Well, scientific or otherwise, I don't discriminate against scientific partners. We have a model, and you may have missed that part.
Close up to the
presentation. Yep. Okay. We, first of all, need to partner with academic institutions who can help raise awareness of adaptation and resilience among our own climate change coalition members who until this point have been principally concerned with greenhouse gas reduction or mitigation. That's number one. Secondly, we will need to partner with scientific partners and lump together technology partners who can help us convey to the adaptation and resilience experts how the advances in blockchain, Internet of Things, and artificial intelligence can, I'll use the word advisedly, leapfrog over where we are today in the state of play on adaptation and resilience. I mentioned earlier that so far there really are not consensus metrics, standards, and best practices for adaptation and resilience. And a lot of adaptation and resilience needs to be done sector by sector and in particular geographies. So there is a great need for that specialized scientific and technical knowledge in order to develop the metrics, the standards, and identify the good or best practices that will be necessary to take us beyond where we are today. Today, to this point, yes, there's been a lot of good work in adaptation and resilience, but it's been very ad hoc. And one of the things that we hope to do with the lab is to communicate our scientific and technical partners through convenings, whether they be in-person convenings, not necessarily at COPs, but you're familiar with the many academic conferences. We need to make those in academia aware that there is this confluence of thinking on the adaptation and resilience, among adaptation and resilience experts coming together with the digital technology experts. That confluence is not yet recognized by many people at all, and that is one of the main purposes of this lab. Thank you very much, Ira. Thank you very much, Himanshu. Any further questions? Everyone welcome. Here is the Digital Innovation Pavilion. It's the space for digital solution providers to come to present their solutions and to connect with the climate action community, with the climate governance community, so that we find pathways towards enhanced climate action, which is digitally enabled, that we discuss about the potential negative consequences of digital technologies, of course, also the carbon footprint of digital infrastructure and the transactions that we have. So critical, open, creative discussion, and therefore wonderful to have here Ira Feldman, for Adaptation leader, Tom Baumann, Climate Check and Novasphere from Canada, the Climate Change Coalition co-chair. And if you have any contributions to the debate, any solutions, comments, questions, please join. We'll be happy to give you the mic, but let's perhaps get back to Tom. I've seen you have sent some messages there, if you would like perhaps to present them directly.
Thank you very much, Miroslav, and thank you, Ira, as well as the audience for those questions. Those are very good questions. Just to elaborate a bit more on the point of partnerships, the coalition, being a multi-stakeholder network itself, includes many of the different user and non-solution developer category types, including finance and governments and NGOs, and each one has potentially valuable contributions that can be made. Of course, the scientific community is an essential stakeholder category. We identify them within the academic and research area, but we also would like to bring in the financiers who are looking to better understand what are some of the emerging solutions for adaptation and resilience. And as Ira noted, given the immense diversity of adaptation situations and solutions, it is a lot to try to understand, even in some of the verticals themselves. So we welcome a discussion with any organization that would like to get involved to determine what would be the best way, and put that within the context of a work plan of this lab, which would be an evergreen document, much like the other labs, so that we're continually evolving and generating as much value as possible for our members and other stakeholders as well. I think I'm sharing my screen with the map that we've created. It's a constantly updated map, which is available on the internet. It currently provides information for each one of these points on the map about the member, what their description, who's the contact person, website, and we're also augmenting it with the additional information of what is their priority areas, if it's adaptation, mitigation, finance, and so on. Which markets are their priority markets? Who are their priority stakeholders? Which blockchain technologies are they using? And other information as well. And we hope that that will help to enable stakeholders who have not yet come to the coalition determine for themselves where they best could fit in, or how to get involved one way or the other. So the coalition is creating these labs as part of a multi-phase, approach, recognizing the diversity of where stakeholders are at. Some are very new to the space, others are more advanced, been working several years. And so these types of tools like the map and some of the knowledge pieces that we put out are meant to facilitate the new stakeholders coming into network and then eventually getting towards cooperating and getting solutions out into the marketplace. So I'm personally very happy that we have now officially announced the Climate Change Lab for Adaptation and Resilience, and the timing couldn't be better with COP27. There is a lot of work ahead of us, so we welcome people to get in touch with us, and we'll hammer out a roadmap and work plan over the coming weeks. Any final remarks? I apologize because I don't see the audience, and I'm not sure if we're wrapping up at this phase or if there's another event. Oh, excellent. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tom. And thank you very much, Ira. I think this was an important event today. Wishing the Climate Change Lab on Adaptation and Resilience much success. And we have to connect the dots. We have to connect the solution providers, the academics, the users, and really be much faster in climate action and much more ambitious, because the current trajectory is not good for the world. Let's work for digital innovations, for cultural innovations, for social innovations, public sector innovations, and let's accelerate our action and our level of ambition. So with this, thank you very much.